Ashley Judd is in Frankfort, Kentucky, on a mission to find out what happened to her third great-grandfather after he was captured and imprisoned a second time during the Civil War.
So he's wounded, October 2nd, 1864, Battle of Saltville, Virginia, prisoner.
Yes.
What do you know about the Battle of Saltville?
Saltville is notable because it supplied a great amount of salt to the Confederacy, and without salt, you don't preserve meat, and without preserving meat, you don't preserve men.
Keeping troops fed during the Civil War was a constant challenge. Before refrigeration, meat and other perishable goods were preserved with salt. A main source of the Confederate Army's supply was in Saltville, where Union General Burbridge marched Elijah Hensley's 39th on October 2nd, 1864. Despite outnumbering the Confederates, the Union ran low on ammunition and retreated overnight, signaling a surprising Confederate victory. 2 months later, the Union finally took Saltville, contributing to the breakdown of the Confederacy and the end of the Civil War.
The last muster roll gives his discharge date, June 65, discharged by reason of disability, quite possibly from battle injury. My dad told me that my great-grandmother told him that he lost a leg. Now, maybe that's here.
Possibly so.
And then it still says age 18. Now, why is that?
He apparently didn't age.
So that's where the good genes come from. It started with Elijah Hensley.
No, by 1865, I would estimate it was safe for him to tell them what his real age was. Which means when he joined in 1862, he was probably about 15 years old. Not uncommon at all.
Wow. After Saltville, it appears he was hurt. So maybe that's where the story that my granny used to tell my dad about Elijah Hensley having lost a leg in the Civil War factors in. I'm heading to Saltville, Virginia to meet with a Civil War medical expert. I'd like to find out more about the wound he sustained and what would have happened to him after he was hurt. So I'm meeting with George Wunderlich at a Civil War-era replica cabin. Hi, I'm Ashley.
How are you today? Very pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Come right on in.
My triple great-grandfather, Elijah Hensley, came to Virginia to fight in Saltville.
Okay.
He was injured, and there is a family story that his injury either was or resulted in an amputated leg.
These records are going to give you the date of injury and a little more information.
Okay. So this says, wounded October 2nd, 1864. That's here at Saltville. Date of operation, immediately after. Done on field, near scene of action. Operation amputation of right thigh through lower third, apparently by circular flap method.
That's correct.
So that would have been a battlefield amputation?
It would have been a battlefield amputation. Let me show you how this goes.
That sounds...
It sounds about like you expect. First of all, when you talk about the mechanism of injury, we're talking about a mini ball. And there's your mini ball. As the bullet is deforming, it causes breakage, it causes cracking. And if you think about it, amputation was not something that doctors did out of ignorance. They did it because it was the best way to save a life. It doesn't get any better. While it is definitely, and I don't want to downplay it, this is gruesome stuff. This basically is how we do it today. So this was much better than you might think. Once they had made the determination to remove the limb, they would have placed a tourniquet on. Would you like me to demonstrate this on you? If you want to put your leg up, we've got a nice little stool right here. I can actually demonstrate for you. All right, so obviously the first thing that I'm going to have to do is we're going to put this around your leg. Now, I'll just give you a little, feel how it's tightening? When I get it tight enough, we're going to be able to actually stop all the blood flow. I'm then going to take a capital knife like this one. I'm going to reach around the leg and make a single cut all the way around. That's the circular part. Now, with a flap, what I'm looking to do is I'm actually going to take that skin that I've cut and I'm going to fold
Roll
it back.
so that
And
you
that's
have
going to
enough
give me
skin to
something to cover the
wounds.
wound with, exactly. After I've cut the bone off, the muscle will extend past the end of the bone, so it'll give you a cushion. Obviously, once I've made my 2 cuts, I've got to come in with a saw. And the surgeon is literally going to cut right through.
How long would the amputation have taken?
12 minutes or less.
And how was the equipment sterilized?
It wasn't. This was state of the art at the time, and actually this saved a lot of lives. It really and truly did. And your great-great-great-grandfather is one, obviously, that survived because of this treatment. His surgeon left him when the Army had to pull out, leaving the men behind, and then they fell into the care of the Confederate Army.
I think the part that touches me the most is how psychologically strong and resilient he must have been. To have survived being a prisoner of war once, and while there's a battle going on around him, he can hear having a leg amputated and coming to, knowing that his regiment has left and he's just waiting to be taken prisoner of war a second time.
Yeah. These were heroes.
That's a lot to think about.
My triple great-grandfather, Elijah Hensley, was facing Confederate prison again, this time after a battlefield amputation. I know he survived because I'm here, but he must have been so concerned about life after war in prison with only one leg. At 17 years old, to have been dealt such a life-changing injury must have been overwhelming. Now, I would really like to know what Elijah Hensley's life was like after the Civil War. And I'm heading back to my hotel where Professor Brian McKnight has left me some information that hopefully has answers I'm looking for.
Ashley, I thought you might be interested in this.
Coming up, Ashley explores her rumored New England roots and makes a life-changing discovery.
Holy cow!